and welcome to I almost said the name of my other podcast, Small Screen Cinema with Tabitha and Dad. All right. We are not one cardinal, one cub, and one beer. Totally different
We are
podcast.
not.
Yeah. Do you want to
I
talk
don't know
about
anything about baseball.
baseball? Baseball. You bought me this cap, by the way.
I did, yeah.
Yep. Yep. Or you stole it. I don't know. Yeah. We are going to
Shh.
look. Oh, sorry. I forgot this is going out to all 8 people out there. Um,
Right,
we
I've got an outstanding warrant for that hat. Be quiet.
We are going to look at the 1977 classic James at 15, the coming of age film starring Lance Kerwin. What a movie! It brings me back to 1977, where all I could think of was lighting firecrackers, playing Little League Baseball, and watching Charlie's Angels because I had a big crush on Farrah Fawcett. And there is going to be a Charlie's Angel connection here in just a moment. Oh, Tabitha, was this your first time watching James at 15?
It was indeed, yeah.
Yeah. And is this not the best movie we've ever done?
Well, I will honestly say it's better than I thought it would be.
Okay, well, that's good. So you can find this movie on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and type James at 15. And remember, this is a pilot for a TV series. So you have to make sure that you watch the pilot first. Otherwise, you're not going to know what's going on in the TV series. But the pilot was ran as a 2 hour TV movie. It was written by journalist and fiction writer Dan Wakefield, and he was inspired by the novel Going All the Way, which kind of tells you what this is about. Okay. Um, Poor Mr. Wakefield, he died March 13th, 2024, at the tender age of 91. And what he was wanting to do with this is he was wanting to write a modern day, for 1977 story that mirrors Walter Mitty. And I think he accomplished that with this screenplay. The movie was directed by Joseph Hardy. He is an American Tony winning stage director, film director, and television producer. Do you know that he directed that classic, You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown?
Aw, really?
Now, I do want to ask you a question, someone who's in the film industry. How do you direct an animated series? Do you say, hey, cartoon man, you do this, you do. I just don't get it.
I'm not an animation person. I really don't know. I would assume a lot of it is looking at storyboards that the animators make. And obviously you're still directing the actors when they do their performances. So, but I am not an expert on that.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I've lived 59 years without knowing so far. So what's another 59 years? We'll see. Uh, Mr. Hardy was the executive producer of two very famous soap operas, Ryan's Hope and General Hospital. And he died June 6th, 2024, at the spry age of 95. Notice that a lot of people in these movies live a long time, which is
Good for them.
kind of cool. Yeah. Our movie stars Lance Kerwin as James, and you'll remember him because just about a month and a half ago, we did The Death of Richie, where he played the little brother. He was also in Salem's Lot. That's probably what he's most famous for. He was in The Loneliest Runner, which is a movie that we will do later on. And he was also in the theatrical release Outbreak in 1995. And
Really.
then he kind of stopped working. He passed away at the age of 62 on January 24th, 2023.
So you
Le-
spoke too soon.
what?
You spoke too soon about living a long life.
Oh, yeah. Well, 62 is not bad.
I want to live longer than 62.
Um, Lacey is played by Melissa Sue Anderson, and you'll remember her from Midnight Offerings, where she was the evil witch. Also known for Little House on the Prairie and her Emmy-winning Emmy-winning role on The Brady Bunch when she played Millicent and Bobby kissed her and got the mumps. So um, those Bradys were so horny, I'll tell you what. She is retired today at the age of 63. And James's father is played by Lyndon Charles. Lyndon Charles was born in St. Louis.
Ooh,
Yes.
hometown
Uh,
hero.
he is a hometown hero. Probably if you go to the Walk of Fame in U City, you can find him, I'm sure. I mean, everybody else from St. Louis is on there. Red Fox is on there. So, um, he is also known for the TV series East Side, West Side, the TV series Convoy. He was in an episode of The Munsters. He was in a few episodes of The Rockford Files, and of course, Perry Mason. He died. Stop laughing, Vince. You'll see why I'm laughing in a minute. He died May 15, 2023, by falling off his roof at the age of 80. I don't like getting on my roof, and I haven't since I've turned about 45. What is an 80-year-old man doing on a roof besides falling
Oh,
off? It's terrible.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, poor, poor London. Um, Mom was played by Lynn Carlin, and she is known for her 1968 film debut in Faces, where she was nominated for the Best Supporting Actress. She was also in Rich Man, Poor Man, and she played the nurse on the Waltons for a few episodes, and she is still with us at the age of 87. Sandy, his little sister, is played by Kim Richards, and she is known for the Disney movies Escape from Witch Mountain and Return to Witch Mountain. She was also in one of Tabitha and I's favorite movies to come out in the 2000s, Black Snake Moan. And most people today would know her from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And she is still with us today at the age of 61.
And she was also the little girl in the original Assault on Precinct 13, who
Okay.
gets shot at the beginning. And her sister is Kyle Richards, who played Lindsay Wallace in Halloween.
Oh, I did not know that. I
Fun
do know
fact.
this. When she was a teenager in the early 80s, she was in a TV show called Hello Larry. It was really bad. It was, oh gosh, what was it? McLean Stevenson.
Oh,
And it was not a good show, but I remember watching it because one of the shows that I watched flowed into it. And there was an episode where there was a blind teenager on there. And in this episode of the show, he almost talked her into letting him rope her while she was naked because, as he said, they don't make Playboy for in Braille. And, you know,
classy.
it was a sitcom, so it was all wrapped up in a nice neat bow in 22 minutes. But in today's world, it's like, man, that's like assault, dude.
Right?
Do that stuff. Oh, Rip is played by Vincent Van Patten. He is the son of Dick Van Patten, known for Eight Is Enough, and also the wonderful comedy Spaceballs. But we're not talking about Dick. We're talking about Vincent Van Patten, his son. Mr. Van Patten was a professional tour tennis player who in 1979 was awarded the Association of Tennis Professionals Rookie of the Year Award.
Damn.
So, yeah, did pretty good as an athlete. He was also in one of my favorite movies whenever I was growing up, Rock and Roll High School, starring the Ramones and PJ Souls. And he was also in Hell Night, Gidget Summer Reunion, and just about every TV show in the 70s had Vincent Van Patten playing it one time. And he is still with us at the age of 68. And Kate Jackson plays Robin. Remember that Charlie's Angels connection? Kate Jackson, Sabrina on Charlie's Angels, the smart angel, which is like saying Bo is the brainiest stooge. But anyway, she was also in The Scarecrow and Mrs. King, and she was in the most progressive movies of the early 80s, Making Love, where her husband, Harry Hamlin, falls for a man.
No,
Today,
her husband was Michael Onkeen. Harry Hamlin was the guy he fell
that's
in love
right.
with.
That's right. That's right. But anyway, very progressive for its time. You've seen a lot of movies like that in today's world, but it was very progressive at its time.
She was
Uh,
also on The Rookies before Charlie's Angels. I like that show.
okay. All right. Kate Jackson was on The Rookies, and I didn't put that in. Bad dad. Bad dad.
That's right. Do better.
James the 15 aired September 5th, 1977 on NBC, and it went up against the ABC Monday Night Baseball. those of you who say, wait a minute, there's no Monday Night Baseball. When I was growing up during baseball season, they had Monday Night Baseball just like they have Monday Night Football now. And
Hmm.
that's what James 15 was up against on ABC. On CBS, it was up against the Fitzpatrick and Rafferty. I do remember the Fitzpatricks. I think Christy McNichol's brother Jimmy played in that. I don't remember Rafferty. I know Jerry Rafferty, who did Baker Street. He used to be with Steelers Wheel. Wonderful songwriter. But that's not Jerry Rafferty. It's just a show called Rafferty. So let's get into the movie. We
Let's
have
do
the
it.
we have the opening credits, and we find out from the opening credits that James is into photography, and he has his own dark room in his house under the stairs, kind of like Harry Potter.
Also known as a glory hole.
Yes, we from last week we found out that's a glory hole in England. Okay. Um, and they live in Oregon, in a small town in Oregon. And
Hold on.
we,
I do have my first note is what is this song? I hate it. Was that the theme song for the show?
yes, it was.
Well, I hate it.
Okay. Oh, well, Miss Happy today. Miss Happy Butt, or also known as Glad Ass. Gladys. So it's the beginning of the day at school, and James, Lance Kerwin, is kind of a diminutive 15-year-old, and he is taking pictures of Lacey, and she doesn't know he's taking pictures because he's a little pervy at this point. He's hey, Lacey, Melissa Sue Anderson. I'll take a few pictures of her. And then his friend Richie stops him from spying on Lacey and taking pictures. And we go to the class, and James is catching stares at Lacey. He's eyeballing her up. And the teacher asks James the MacArthur quote, and he says, I'll be back. And no, I shall return. Did you know the MacArthur quote?
No,
Didn't you pay attention in history?
I did.
Not.
I did. I did very
Not.
well in history.
So after class, he bungles the quote because he's distracted by Lacey's beauty. And after class, Richie says that James, you won't talk to Lacey because you're not man enough to talk to Lacey. And so James goes up to Lacey in awkward teenage boy style, says, "Hey, what's your favorite world war?" So she says, "Hi, James." And then this dude in this nice convertible comes by, her boyfriend, and she kind of blows James off and she jumps in the car. Bye, James. And then James fantasizes. This is that Walter Mitty thing coming out. He daydreams and fantasizes in this whole movie. He fantasizes about he and Lacey being in a car, or about Tony and Lacey being in a car accident, and James saves Lacey with mouth to mouth resuscitation. And Lacey pulls through and hugs him and asks about Tony. And James says, "Poor Tony, never had a chance."
I did
Now,
love that he killed Tony in his fantasy.
this reminds me so much of two things. Number one, A Christmas Story, when Ralphie,
Yes.
you know, has the soap poisoning. Number two, I don't know about girls, but every boy fantasized about stupid stuff like that all the time when it came to girls. Like, maybe I'll cut my foot off and she'll have to help me walk or something like that. So
My God.
it was like it was almost embarrassing. It took me back to a few of those stupid memories. Oh gosh, these stupid things that I do. So then Richie kind of brings James back to earth from his little daydream, and he says sophomore girls only like older guys, and I think that's true. You know, when I was a kid growing up, the sophomore girls they would go to the nursing homes and find their boyfriends. It was just weird. So James says he will get Lacey. You just watch. And then he pushes Richie down because James has anger issues
Screw
underlying a lot of
you, Richie.
so, I had a brother named Richie and he died of drugs just 2 movies ago. I don't want to hear it from you too.
That's your fault.
So actually, he pushed Richie down. Richie dies. We have the death of Richie part two.
Let's just keep Lance Kerwin away from Richie's. They're not safe
Yeah,
around him.
right. So the next scene, James is at swim practice. He's obviously a swimmer, and he's a sophomore, and he makes the varsity relay team, which is kind of a big thing. So that was pretty cool. And then the next scene, he's at lunch with Richie, and they are talking loudly so Lacey can hear them. And James is talking about loudly about him making the relay team as a sophomore. And Lacey hears all this big deal. I'm dating an older man. I guess that's what she's thinking. And then a student interrupts the cafeteria and makes an announcement that Tony, who is Lacey's boyfriend, is the new junior class president. And Tony gets up to make a speech and says, "Thank you." And everybody applauds. And so James and Richie start making fun of Tony's speech. Oh, let's just say it's thank you, you know. So Lacey says it's too bad sophomore boys are too juvenile to understand anything. Yes.
Yeah.
And James asks, "Who's juvenile?" And then he stomps away.
You
Oh,
know, Patty Duke, that's all she said when she won her Oscar.
what? Thank you.
Thank you. She got up, she said thank you, she sat back down.
Hmm.
Just saying.
Okay. Very good. Um, so the next scene, they're at a football game, and James is the photographer for the school paper, and he's taking pictures of the game, mostly of Rip Lindemann, the star running back for the team. And then we go to uh, James being at school again, and uh, Rip brings the school newspaper or goes up to James, who's looking at the school newspaper, and he says, "You took this picture? Yeah, that's a good picture." And he thanks James for the picture, and he offers to buy pictures off James. And James says, "Oh, you don't need to buy pictures. You know, I'll give them to you free." So in the 70s, there wasn't a high five, there wasn't a low five. You just slapped hands like that because we were lame. We didn't know that you could do innovative stuff with the high five, the low five, the side five. We only knew slap it, you know. So anyway, they he holds out his hand and James just kind of looks at it. Then James, oh yeah, and slaps his hand because James is socially awkward, like every sophomore boy is. And our next scene, he's at home. James steals like the world's biggest beer for 1977 for the refrigerator, goes into his little glory hole, also known as the dark room, and he's going to work in the dark room with his photography, maybe developing pictures. And so he hears mom and dad come home, and they're arguing about them relocating, and they haven't told the kids yet. Should we have told the kids? I don't know. So James is listening through the door, and he finds out that they're going to move to Boston. They're going from Oregon to Boston, a small town in Oregon, to the big town Boston. Dad is an English professor, and he's got the chance to take over a whole department at a college in Boston, be the head of the English literature department. So, you know,
But
that
notably, that college is not Harvard.
no, it's not Harvard. It's not. It's Bob's college. Bob owned college. So, no, it's Trump University. He was the
Ugh.
English professor there.
They don't teach English there.
They teach big, beautiful English. They do it bigly. So anyway, so back at school, James notices Tony's car go by, and there's a different girl in there. So he's like, hmm. Then Lacey approaches him and basically says, "Yeah, older guys suck." And
It's
James
true.
is,
I was only attracted to Mondo because he had a car.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So uh, Lacey tells James that he's a genuine person. So she suddenly really heats up to James,
Hmm.
and I don't know why. I mean, he's a little whiny, squirty kid with a bad haircut. I'm sorry, Lance Kerwin, but that's what you were in this movie. But anyway,
Maybe because he's already shown interest in her, so she figures, well, I can get a rebound real quick.
yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Oh, I was never anybody's rebound. I was always the slam dunk.
Yeah, yeah.
So, uh, so the next thing, the family is camping around a fire and they're talking about the relocation. And the parents are trying to hype up Boston, how great Boston is. And, this is it's Hastings College. That's where he's going, not Harvard. Makes a point to say that. And Sandy, his little sister, played by Kim Richards, she complains about the Red Sox. So I automatically like Sandy. Oh, she's a baseball fan. That's awesome. So James is not hot on the move because what teenage boy wants to upload their lives and move across the country? I don't know. So at the next scene, they're at a swim meet, and Lacey is watching James swim, and she's very excited. And James does great. Lacey compliments James, and it's so cute. Kind of reminds me whenever I wasn't on the swim team. I was the drowning team. That's what I was on. So uh, Lacey and James are walking home from school. This is so corny. Uh, he gives Lacey a peck on the cheek, and then Sandy rides by on her bike when he does it and yells, "James Hunter strikes again." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, that's my sister." And so Lacey says, "We have a lot in common, James. We're both 15 and we are both adventurous." Then James responds with the most 15-year-old boy who has a mad crush, "I love you." And she, instead of saying, "What the hell are you talking about?" she says, "That's what else we have in common. I realize now that I love you." I'm thinking, did that really happen to anybody at age 15? I don't know.
I
And they,
wrote, yeah, I wrote, is that bad writing or just stupid teenagers who don't know what love is?
oh, I'm sure that happened quite a bit. I don't know. It one of the things that I like about this movie is it is unashamedly hokey in places. It's
Yeah.
like this is what we are. This is a we're dealing with some serious subjects here, but we're going to make this as hokey as possible to make it palatable for people. So I do.
Teenage
I,
girls will get like that, trust me.
oh, teenage boys will too.
Okay, yeah, don't think it's just a boy thing. If a boy said that to a 15-year-old girl, she would say, I mean, she wouldn't be as calm about it. She'd probably be like, yeah, it would be ridiculous.
So James is over the moon. He loves Lacey. Lacey loves him. Life is coming together. The movie finishes. No, wait a minute. It's like to the first commercial. So we're next at the house, the parents' house, and James comes in. "I have returned." He gets the quote right this time. And the family looks at him like he has three heads. And they look at him like that quite often because James really is the queer duck of the family. Uh, so the next scene, James and his dad are playing basketball, and he asks his dad, "Do you believe in love at first sight?" And that dad goes into this whole diatribe how it kind of was like that with him and your mom and how they knew each other. And then it took a few years and then everything came to fruition. And James wanted to know, why did it take so long? Dad says, blah, 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 just continues the story. And then he ends up by telling James, at your age, you need to play the field, which was good advice because my friend Scott, his dad told me that. That was his advice to me. You need to play the field. And that's great advice if you're good looking and you can get more than one girlfriend. But people like me who had to beg someone just to look at me, it's like, there's no field to play.
You're like, I tried, but there's no one on the field.
I was that little kid with the tennis racket, the tennis ball, just banging it up against the wall and hitting it back because that's all I could do with love. So the next scene, they're at Rip's house, and Rip and all the football players are playing pool, and James goes there, and James shows up with his photos, and James grabs a beer while the guys play pool, and they talk about girl, and James is listening to their conversation. And so Rip stops playing pool, and comes and he's looking at the pictures, and he really likes them. Rip's really nice to him. I mean, James is obviously a little nerdy kid, and Rip treats him good.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of
Uh,
refreshing.
yeah, it was. And in the pictures, there's a picture of Lacey in the stack, and Rip says, "Hey, you also got an eye for other things." And he says, "Oh, that wasn't supposed to be in there." So Rip offers him another beer. And so James asks Rip how he scores. And so Rip gets this big football analogy. I go to the flank to the left, and then I cut down the middle, and then I do a little juke move, and next thing you know, I'm running for that end zone and I score or something like that. And James says, I mean with girls. And Rip says, what do you think I just told you? I thought, oh my gosh.
Oh my
So,
God. Boys are trash.
yeah. And it was a lot of verbiage to say wear a condom too. So,
Yeah, another kid there was saying he broke up with his girlfriend or something like that because she said being careful takes away from the romance. What?
well, and they never call it a condom or prophylactic, but the the word at that time was a rubber. Wear a rubber. So, and you know where you got them? You go to sleazy gas stations and you go in the men's room and you put 2 quarters in and you turn it and you got a rubber, you know, and then you showed it to your friends because you really wasn't going to use it. So anyway, so the next scene, James is at home and he's got a hangover, and his parents are asking him if he's okay, and yeah, whatever. So now, hey Dominic, hi,
Oh, hi.
hi Dominic,
Say hi to Grandpa.
hi.
Can you excuse us, please? Yeah, yeah. Out. Out you go. Thank you. What's that?
Who was that kid?
I don't know.
Random kids walking around. That's Tabitha's son Dominic, my grandson. So he's very
He's still
cool.
trying to get in.
Where's Mondo?
He just came in. He was in the garage.
Oh, okay. Um,
Sorry about that.
so in the next scene, they're in a movie theater and they're
Oh,
kissed.
wait. Well, I'm sorry. Sorry. I wanted to say about James getting drunk. So when Richie gets drunk, it's a national tragedy. But when James at 15 does it, it's funny. Double standard. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't think of that, but yeah, you're right. He probably wouldn't have been drinking if Richie probably taught him how to drink in the previous movie. So, would you like a beer, James? Sure. My older brother Richie, who killed himself with drugs, he used to throw a few back. Let's do this.
No, Richie didn't kill himself. My father shot him.
Oh, that's right. Dad shot him. So,
That's how it
uh,
is.
so at the movies, James and Lacey are making out at the movies, and Lacey says, "We just need a car." And James says, "Hey, I can get a car." So what's he do? He takes her to his house. They're in the garage, and they're in his parents' car making out. And she says, "It seems silly that we are parking in a garage." And he says, "Just remember, we are in a romantic setting outside of Paris." I'll try. And so then James' parents come into the garage because Sandy thought she heard a burglar out there. No, it's just horny teenagers. And James' mom says, "Well, why don't you guys come in and have some hot chocolate?" He's like, "Oh, I was trying to get some hot chocolate here. Come on now."
Totally killing the vibe,
Yeah,
mom and
yeah.
dad.
Mom. I didn't mention mom's first name. She's a foreign lady, and her first name was Kakbalak. So,
Uh-huh.
boom. So the next thing, the parents are talking, and mom says you should have a talk with James, and the talk that you have with your kids. And he says, "Oh, kids already know everything today. It's in the schools. It's in hygiene movies." And he says, "Okay, I'll talk to James." So the next scene in the locker room for PE or swimming or whatever, the kids in the school, they're teasing James and asking him if he has scored with Lacey yet. And James gives another corny football analogy that says nothing. So, which this is where the fiction comes in this movie because every 15-year-old boy who's asked if he scored says, "Yeah, I score every night, man. Don't you?" Yeah. So that's so. Anyway, boys lie all the time. So the next thing, the family's eating at a Chinese restaurant, and they say your sister Kathy's going to be home from college for Thanksgiving. And now here's the real surprise. You're not going to see this in your fortune cookie. We are not moving after the school year. We're going to move at the semester now because the opening has suddenly come up early. So the kids throw a fit at the restaurant. Sandy and James, got a boss, and then James has another one of these daydream fantasy things where he's an Asian emperor and he tries to, now that he and Lacey are together, and there's an Asian emperor who's trying to force them apart, and James saves Lacey. And then James wakes up out of his daydream by an Asian waiter saying, more tea. So next thing, we're at Lacey's house, and James and Lacey talk about the move being pushed up, and they have the most corny discussion here. How can they do that to us? There ought to be a liberation for minors. This is the most young teenage rant I have ever seen in film, and they're mean to us. Yeah. So what can we do? James says that they can strike, or I can sit on my can. um, what time will we have? What time we have, we will do what we want, not what they want. We're gonna do it. Screw our parents. Then they fall on the couch kissing. Next thing, we're in the dark room, and James is talking to his dad, and Dad tries to have a sex talk with James. James really isn't paying much attention. He's focusing on the pictures, and Dad says, "If you can't be good, be careful." Mm-hmm. That's what my dad told me too. Can't be good, be careful.
Yeah, sure.
I chose being good. So next scene, James is loading stuff for work in a truck because he works at a produce place. And Richie's talking to him, and he's talking about James moving to Boston. He complains to James that he's always spending time with Lacey. And that's a real thing. I remember teenage years, when your friends would get a girlfriend and suddenly they would disappear on the weekends because they were hanging out with their girlfriends, and you get a little jealous. Man, so and so never hangs out with me anymore. They're always with their girlfriend. Then you get a girlfriend and they're complaining about you, but she's my girlfriend. I got to spend time with her.
Oh, girls do that too.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
she's just out with her boyfriend all the time. Well, screw us, I guess.
It's a teenage thing.
Yeah,
So Richie's being a dick because James is moving, and James is moving against his will. It's not like it's anything he can do about it. And
yeah.
James says he's going to come back and see Lacey because they are in love. Told Richie, didn't he? So Richie leaves, and you know. So James is taking a picture of the family during Thanksgiving. He's got his little timer on the camera, and so they all take a Thanksgiving picture. Kathy's home, and Dad makes an announcement at the table uh, that we are going to be moving to Boston at the beginning of next semester in a few weeks, and which is going to be good because we'll be closer to Kathy. Goes to school out there, and Kathy says, "Oh no, I've applied for an exchange program.
Yeah.
Um, where would you like to go?" "Oh, my first choice is Zaire." "What? The University of Zaire? Is there even a University of Zaire?" "I don't know, but that's where she wants to go study abroad." So Dad threatens that he's going to go lie down, and Kathy says, "Wherever we go, we are still a family." Which is weird because it's not true. Tabitha and I aren't family anymore because she lives in Belleville and I live in Peelu, Missouri.
Oh yeah,
Max
I
lives
live
in
so
Omaha. We're
far
not.
away.
Max lives in Omaha. We're not family anymore. Rebecca lives in Memphis. We're not family anymore. You know.
Well,
The only.
good. I guess I'm off the hook for Christmas.
Wait a minute. We're family.
No, no, you've already said it.
So James is doing the dishes with Kathy, his big sister, and James asks Kathy about love, and Kathy gives him kind of a long answer. Basically, she says, there are no rules. Be natural, make it mutual, together in concert. And if you don't have a car, James asks her, well, if you don't have a car, where's the concert? She says, good question. Okay. I never had a discussion like that with my sisters. Never. I mean, there's still time, but I doubt if it's going to happen. So,
Do you still need that kind of advice?
got 5 kids. I don't know where they came from. So,
I actually thought she, you know, from the female perspective, she gave much better advice than his football buddy.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Obviously, even though this is real, I think this is the only scene they have together.
Mm,
Uh,
yeah.
it portrays them as having a pretty close sibling relationship.
Yeah.
No, she is at the end of the movie, and I'll get there in a minute. So the next scene, James and Lacey are making out while Lacey babysits her brother, and James says, I'm going to protect the woman I love. And then Henry, her little brother, scares him with like a Wolfman mask. And they try to shoot him off, but apparently Henry is a little perv. He says, I'd rather watch you.
Right? Henry. We need to get
Gee.
some help for that kid.
So, um, Henry today is probably, I don't know, in his mid 50s, and I'm pretty sure in his closet he only has raincoats. I mean, that's the kind of kid he
This is
appeared to
Henry.
be.
This was before they did the portrait of him being a serial killer.
That's right. That's right. I like that callback, even though we haven't done that one. So then we're in history class, and the teacher's talking about planning being the key to victory. You have to plan to be victorious in war. So James and Lacey kind of nodded at each other. Yeah, we need a plan. And as they're walking on campus, they start making their plans, and uh, it's going to be awfully cold. We're going to go into the mountains. Nothing will stop us. We're in love. It's like December and it's the mountains, dude. We're in Oregon. So the next scene, they go up the mountain, and they have their bikes and their knapsacks and sleeping bags and everything. And they're kind of nervously unpacking things and getting their zipping bags zipped up together. And
Yeah, I
Lacey,
have. Why is this so complicated? Surely there is some time when they can be alone at one of their houses, or at least one of their rooms, like normal teenagers. They don't have to go out into the woods in winter to have sex.
well, the reason they haven't had sex is because they hadn't been to church camp. That's where most kids have sex. So
Shame on you.
I know of a case. So anyway, not involving me, by the way. But anyway, so Lacey kind of gives James a come hither smile because Lacey is a woman of the world. And they like take off their coats and uh, they they're getting into the sleeping bag, and James says the most inappropriate thing: prepare for entry.
I wrote that one down. Oh my God. They are so dumb.
I can imagine the guy who wrote the screenplay just laughed at some of the stuff he wrote. Oh, this is gonna be so dumb. So so they get in the sleeping bags and they continue disrobing a little bit. And James realizes that he's left his condom, that this is 1977, so it's his rubber in his knapsack. So he has to get out of the sleeping bag and go to his knapsack. And then the next scene, they're leaving the mountain, and apparently they have failed to consummate this relationship due to the cold weather. And I'm sure it was his fault because we all know what cold weather does. So, so he says, we need to do this when the weather is warmer. I'm just, no, goddamn shit! What 15-year-old can't get it up? So anyway,
Right? It happens whether you want it to or not when you're 15.
so um, So Lacey says, but by then you're going to be gone. And James says, well, I will come back. And Lacey says, I will wait for you. And I'm thinking, BS, you're teenagers. This is not going to happen. But anyway, so next scene, the family is loading up the car to move. And Richie comes by to say goodbye. And like typical teenage boys, they can't like just give a hug goodbye. You know, they have to wrestle.
No, that's
And
gay.
yeah, and they make slightly offensive racial slurs to each other. Okay. Uh, then Lacey comes over to say goodbye, and she's sad. And they go into the house, and James
Wait,
has
did
another.
you notice that his dad called her Leslie?
No.
I thought that was funny. He's like, "Hi, Leslie."
So James and Leslie go into the house. James has another daydream that he and Lacey stay back together like husband and wife and are like in a house and stuff.
Yeah, the parent. What does he say? It was nice of your parents to give us the house and let you stay behind. And he's like, well, once I told them that I would not be continuing my education unless they did it, they had no choice. Like, oh my God.
So he is brought out of his daydream. A horn honks, and to get James to come out to the car, he takes one last picture of Lacey, and Lacey cries and leaves. And he says, "I'll be back, Lacey, when it's warm." So then James has another daydream that he's returning as General Douglas MacArthur. So then the family arrives at their townhouse in Boston, and Dad lights a fire in the fireplace because there's no utilities yet. It's cold, dark, and ugh. And
Yeah,
so,
no, we're going to a hotel until that's turned on.
yeah, I'm like, come on, dude, don't do this. So
Right.
James is bitching about living in the townhouse, and then they're having sandwiches, and Dad calls it a submarine sandwich, and James says, "No, it's a hero sandwich." He says, "No, here in Boston, it's a submarine sandwich." And they kind of get into a pissy argument. James is mad because it's not called a hero sandwich; it's called a submarine sandwich. Ah. So James and his sister argue over Lacey, and James says that they will always think the same about each other because the sister says that Lacey's going to forget about you. He says, "No, that's not going to happen." So anyway, the next day, James is dropped off to his new school, and he has this daydream that they're having a pep rally for him, and they're hoisting him on the shoulders. The cheerleaders are there.
Yeah.
Hey, and that's not that far off from when I went to school every day.
Oh, did they
Yeah.
throw a pep rally for you every day?
Yes. Yes. So shut up, I'm tired. So anyway, so James is walking the hall of the new school, and he realizes he's the only dude there without a suit and tie. He's like, wow. So if you guys stop and talk to him, they tell him that what you really need to do is just kind of split today. Split is a 70 term for leave. You should just leave today and show up tomorrow in a nice tie and jacket. Then you'll fit in. So James just walks around Boston for a bit, and he writes Lacey a letter. And he says, "Wish I was back with you in Oregon. I'm still coming back on the first warm day." Um, and they don't know how to name a sandwich in this town. I'm so angry. Um, so he's back at home, and apparently all their stuff is lost in transit. All the moving van hasn't got there, so they don't have any clothes, just what they had on their backs, and blah blah blah.
Right? This move was so ill planned. It seems like they the utilities are out, they don't have their stuff. No. No, I'm not okay with this.
Yeah, and this was cut from this movie. Dad went to the school. They said, "We don't know who the hell you are. Moved all the way from Oregon, you dirt
Like, what are you
douche."
talking about?
So James is just sitting there, and they said, time to go to school. He says, "Oh, I can't go to school because I don't have a jacket and tie." So what are you talking about? Everybody at the school has to wear a jacket and tie. I don't have one. My clothes aren't here. So Dad, who's about a foot taller than James, takes off his jacket and tie and puts it on and makes him go to school that way. Parents, I tried not to be this way because my mom was kind of this way. They have no concept of you going to school being humiliated. None.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Mom, I laundry hasn't been done. Just wear what you had yesterday on. Mom, people will notice. I'll be known as that kid. Oh, shut up and get out the door. Okay. So,
Well, also, I mean, granted, it was the 70s and parenting was just kind of not a thing yet, but like, how do you not a dress code at the school? You know, if it's gonna be like that, these stupid parents did not.
oh, yeah, they're horrible.
Yeah.
So, he realizes when he's in school, he's the only kid with a jacket and tie on. Everybody else is dressed normally, and it's severely oversized. And he's confronted by the guys who told him to leave and come back tomorrow in a jacket and a tie, and you'll fit right in. And they ask him, "So, what do you do, kid?" He says, "Well, I can swim." And they kind of make fun of him, because he's a diminutive kid and they're like bigger guys. And then some kid tells him to go try out. So James says, "Where is the gym?" And this kid says, "Another facility in town. This is the big city. There's no room for a gym in this school." Wow, that would suck. But I went to a grade school without a gym. I mean,
Really?
yeah, we did PE outside, and then when it was cold, we did it in the cafeteria. And the
Huh.
cafeteria was not, I mean, it was just a concrete floor.
Where'd you have your assemblies?
Oh, we had them in the cafeteria.
Oh, ours
Yeah,
was like a gym slash auditorium.
yeah, most schools are like that, but I didn't have that till I got to middle school. Oh, so uh, this kid who's African American asked James, "Do you have black kids in Oregon?" Because he asked James where he's from Oregon. He says, "Yeah, yes." James says, "Yes, on TV."
Oh God.
So the kid tells him that the jacket and the tie thing is just for the first day of the semester. And so James asks this kid, he says, "How do I get to the gym?" And the kid says, "Take the T. How else?" There's no T in Oregon. So James is walking and he goes to the public transportation rail center and he finds the T and he asks the attendant complicates things for James. And James is trying to make out where he's at on the map, and he goes on a few trains, and he gets lost and confused in the hustle and bustle of the tram line in the trains. And so then finally he walks up to another attendant for help, and she says, "Where do you want to go?" He said, "Oregon." So uh, next day at school, James goes to the principal's office, Mr. Hartage, and the principal says they will likely want to set you up in the learning center for a while. And James says, "What is that?" And he says, "To help new students to catch up." And James says, "So it's for dumb kids," which that's what I would have thought there. Oh, so you're putting me in the dumb kid thing. He says,
Hmm.
"No, it's just to help you get on board with this school." So James leaves abruptly, and the principal says, "Where are you going?" He says, I forgot my sister. I left her at the all night movie and she can't speak English." He's the worst liar in the world. So we're back at home, and James walks in, and the parents are bickering again because that's what all they do. And their stuff is still lost in transit. And mom says, "We should have moved to the suburbs." And dad said, "No, we wanted to live in the city so the kids have a city experience." So they're arguing about that. I agree with mom. They should have moved into the suburbs.
Yeah, the dad is being really selfish here. Like, it seems like he wants to live in the city,
Yeah,
and he's just annoyed that the rest of the family doesn't. But he's
yep,
forcing him to do it his way.
that's right. That's what dads do. So James is packing up to leave for Oregon and he's talking to Sandy. She's helping him pack. And he says, "You can't tell anybody." But she wants to know his plans. And she even gives him like $37, which is about the equivalent of $8,000 in today's money.
Yeah?
And he hasn't told Lacey that he's coming home yet. This is kind of a spur of the moment thing. And Sandy says that she won't squeal on James. So James says that his plan is to get Lacey and move to Canada, build a cabin, and live off the land. And then she says, "Good luck, James. Stay away from preverts." Is that what you got her saying? Or did you understand what she said?
I missed it.
Okay, I know what a pervert is. I wonder if she said prevert because you couldn't say pervert on TV at that time.
Maybe.
But I backed up. She is saying prevert. So,
Hmm.
um, it kind of works because she's like a 10-year-old kid. So, maybe she
Yeah.
was called. So, back at home, the parents are trying to get information from Sandy because James is gone. And she says, I can't tell you, I made a sacred oath. And the parents are, uh, they they don't seem too concerned. They're kind of, they're not like, tell us where James is. He's gone. Well, come on, you can tell us, blah, blah, blah. So the parents, they're being really light considering the situation that James has run away. And so she gives them hints, and then they figure it out that he's going to Oregon to see Lacey.
And by the
So
way, they will do nothing with this information.
yeah, yeah. It it it's like he's just gone. Oh
Yeah,
well,
like,
James left.
oh
All right. Be safe, son. If you can't be good, be safe.
well.
So James is on a bus and he's daydreaming that he rides to Lacey as a Canadian Melanie. It's great. And the bus stops for a 10-minute break, and James goes to the phone booth to call Lacey. And when he's calling collect, so when the operator says, "Who shall I say is calling?" he said, "Douglas MacArthur." So Lacey picks up the phone, and they're talking, but James is daydreaming. And she's like, James, he's like, yeah, I'm coming. She's like, it's not warm. What are you coming for? And, he's so she says, you remember your friend Rip? She says, oh, yeah. Rip's a great guy. How's he doing? She says, oh, he's fantastic. Rip is in his football uniform and he's kissing Lacey. And he kind of does this to James, like,
Well, no, it's great. In his fantasy, James and Lacey are running towards
oh,
each
that's
other,
right.
open arms, and she zips right past him and into Rip's arms.
There you go. So Sandy called this. The 10-year-old girl called this. So James hangs up. He's dejected. So
By the way, they've been gone maybe a week.
yeah, yeah.
Like, she could not have moved on faster.
So James hangs up. Well, she got a broken heart. She
Oh, sure.
needs healed. So James is dejected, and James gets his gear off of the bus, and the bus driver says, "Hey, this isn't your stop." He said, "I'm leaving." So then he starts hitchhiking, and then a lady approaches him, and James run away. James runs away, and then she catches him. Her name is Robin, Kate Jackson. She says, James says, I'm going to Canada. And she says, you can't go as an underage runaway. And Robin says, hey, why don't we team up while we hitchhike? Because it's safer. Women have an easier time getting a ride than men because perverted truck drivers will pick them up. And then
And then kill them.
and yeah, but if I have a guy with me, then it's safer. So some pervert pulls up to pick her up. She says, okay. Then, James runs out of the woods. She says, this is my brother, Horace. So where they come up with the name Horace, I don't know. So,
I at this point I was worried about where this was going because James is very horny and adult women and teenage boys are still not treated as that big of a deal, or at least as big of a deal as it should be treated. And
well,
this was in the 70s, so I was like, "Oh God. Oh God."
well, um, the driver is very taken back that James is with them. And,
Mhm.
so they're driving and they're talking. And then the driver kind of makes a move on Robin. And Robin says, I don't think we can. And why not? Because he's saying, hey, why don't we go do something? And she says, Horace, Horace is James, as Horace is in the backseat. He says that he needs his injection. They need to find a hospital. And he says, Robin needs an injection too, but she only takes one every other day. So he's coughing and acting like he's sick. And so the guy drops them off and kind of kicks them both out of the car. So they're camping in the woods, and we find out that Robin is an art student who kind of drops in school for a while and then drops out and hitchhikes for a while. Oh, to be young and free. Um, but anyway, Robin notices that James has a camera, and so she says, "Take a picture of me." So she starts posing for James, and James misreads it because, he's a 15-year-old horny boy. And he goes, and to make a move would be kind of an understatement. He kind of tackles her, trying to make a move on her. And she's very understanding of his testosterone fueled aggression towards her. I'll put it that way. You're like, oh, come on, man. So, we're friends, we stop, Besides that, one of Charlie's Angels, and, I'm like in my 30s, and you know, even though you're probably 20, 21 at this time, you still look like you're 15. It's kind of weird. So, so she says, go to sleep, and tomorrow we'll use your camera. We'll use your camera and your head. So the next day they're walking, and James is taking pictures of Robin as they're walking. And she talks of hiking to Pasadena and seeing the Rose Bowl parade and stuff like that. Then they spot a picnic area. Robin asks James if he wants to get high before lunch. Sure, why not? So they sit down and crisscross applesauce, and they start taking deep breaths, and they get high on air. And I'm going to tell you something, Tabitha. I've been breathing oxygen from this planet since 1966. I just realized I've been perpetually stoned since birth. If that's all it takes to get high.
Apparently, we all have.
Yes. Yes.
I
So,
mean, that explains some things. So,
yeah. So, anyway, uh, so, she says, it's the best high ever, just fresh air. She's kind of a hippie chick. So, James tells Robin that she reminds him of his sister, Kathy. And says that Kathy is lucky, that Robin has no siblings, And she says, let's be friends, James. Uh, have you ever had a friend that's a girl? And he says, yeah, I've had girlfriends. She says, no, not girlfriends, a friend who is a girl, not lovers, just friends. No, no, that idea has never crossed my mind. So anyway, um, so they kind of, okay, we'll be friends. And I kind of like her logic here because I've got a few friends that are female, and it is a different dynamic than having male friends because
yeah.
male friends, they want to talk about just a few things. And I found that intelligent female friends can talk about anything. And I just don't have that with male friends for some reason. Um,
Yeah,
so
I can see that.
yeah,
And also, I don't know, maybe this is a sexist idea still, but there are just some things as a female I can tell other females that I wouldn't tell a man, you know? And,
yeah.
so
So while they're having this discussion, James goes into another little daydream um, that he and Robin, or Robin Hood and Little John, they're fighting off the sheriff of Nottingham, with their little bows, as partners, not lovers. It's kind of cool. And then some guy approaches the picnic, and James tries to dismiss him, and Robin says, all are welcome on the road, even this weird serial killer is welcome on the. I am Tiger. That's my name. Ooh, whoa.
right, yeah, God,
Uh,
Tiger.
I mean, he might as well have said, my name's Douchebag. So Tiger and Robin immediately start to flirt, and James is getting a little jelly. Hey, that's my friend that's like a sister that I think's really hot, but I can't because we're just friends. We were just shooting the sheriff of Nottingham, They're ruining the vibe here. So they continue walking, and Robin and Tiger are talking to flirting, and James just kind of hanging in the back. And Tiger says, that he's got a job coming up on a lobster boat. Um, and Robin says that she has friends in Maine, and maybe they can go there and crash tonight. And then James yells from the back, hey, are we going to keep walking, or are we going to get a ride? And Robin turns around and kind of scolds him. We're going to get a ride. Tiger and I are just talking. So they go to this commune place, and Robin says, "Hey, can we crash here tonight?" He says, "Well, you and the guy can, but the little dude he can't stay." Why? Well, we were arrested for an unlawful crop. I wonder what that was. And he's underage, runaway kid. We just don't need this crap. And I get his point, you know. So James gets up to leave, and Tiger and Robin they leave with him, which I thought was very big of them.
I
It's,
I agree. She did the right thing, but the guy's wife or girlfriend or whatever was advocating to let him stay. She's like, we can't just turn a kid out into the night,
yeah,
which
why me?
I agree with her too. Like that's kind of shitty, dude.
And that's the only acting job that guy ever had. He was banned from movies for being such a horrible human being. That wasn't his real line. His real line was, "Yeah, I can stay here," but he ad libbed. Yeah, I don't, little kid. So they're kind of sleeping at a bus station, and Tiger kisses Robin. Whoa. And James asks her if she is falling for that guy because he leaves. And she says, "James, we are friends. Tiger and I might be lovers." And he says, "Well, maybe just for a night." And she said, "Yeah, yeah, you know, sometimes just a one time thing can be beautiful, you know." So whatever. So then she says, "James, you need this to decide if you're going to go to Canada or if you're going to go back to Boston. You should give Boston a chance. Use your camera as a passport and you can go anywhere, you know, because it's weird. As long as you're shooting something, you pretty much can go almost anywhere. Oh, that person's taking pictures, you know. Hey,
Yeah,
kick them
I
out of
see
the
that.
maternity ward. No, they're taking pictures. Okay. So um, you can get to know the city. And James doesn't want to hear, he says, "I don't want to go home and hear my parents bicker." And Robin insinuates that his parents may need him to be for their relationship to work. And James, she says, "James, you have to figure it out." So James decides he's not going to go with Robin and Tiger. Robin gives him bus fare. She said, "Here's enough for you need to go to Boston or the Canadian border. Here you go." And he gives her a goodbye. So then in the final scene, James, well, not the final scene, James walks in the door of his house and his family are just Robin
Just hanging out.
Robin and
Kathy.
Sandy or are they or yeah, Kathy and Sandy are playing chess or checkers or something. Mom's setting the table. They're just like, oh well.
Nobody
So
cared. Like, oh, wow.
so uh they notice James and they all hug. And the next day at school, James is in the learning center and then sees his teacher and finds out, wow, my teacher's pretty hot.
Yeah,
And there's
so we
Van
learned
Halen's
nothing here.
out. Yeah. He starts singing, "I got it bad, got it bad." So they talk about his courses in Oregon, and she tells him, "Oh, well, you're ahead of us in history, you know, blah blah blah." So James decides he's going to trial for the swim team, and who's the coach? His hot teacher. And so the guys give him trouble. So they do a time trial, and he beats them in the time trial. And his hot coach says, "Oh, James, you set a new record for trials." And so he daydreams that he's won the Olympic gold medal. And then he calls his coach to the stand, and suddenly she comes to the stand wearing a strapless bikini. and, and he says, I'm, uh, uh, here's my coach. And she says, "My husband has granted me a no fault divorce. I am now free to become Mrs. James Hunter." And they kiss. And I'm thinking, okay, in this movie, you were 15, James, and she has got to be 30 years old.
I know. I went, no, like in slow motion. Okay, I looked it up. I'm pretty sure Lance Kerwin was 17. I could not find the age of this actress anywhere, but definitely an adult. And I was just like, no, what are you doing? Just
I think her name
inappropriate.
was I think her name was Mary Letourneau.
Oh, was that the one lady got who got
Pregnant by
pregnant by
her
her student?
school kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah. That.
God.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so uh
Wait,
that's
he did have a good line in his fantasy speech. Was my deep sympathy to those who drowned in an effort to pass me.
yeah. And then the movie ends. Okay. And now I have an antidote. Okay. First of all, do you think I saw this at the original airing, saw it later, or this is the first time I've seen it?
Original.
I saw this originally. So because I had two older sisters and it was kind of a big deal, this TV movie, that's kind of been hyped as, a coming of age movie. So my sisters, they wanted to watch it. And so I watched it with them. And then the series, James at 15, and then when he had his birthday, they called it James at 16. I think it only lasted for like a year, maybe one season. But we would
Hmm.
watch that too. And I didn't watch it as much as my sisters did. But one day I walk into the living room. I'm 11 years old, and sometimes I would forget where I was at. And I said, "What's on TV?" And my sister said, "James at 15." I said, "Oh, he's the one that screws all the girls." Mom was sitting there, and I was just, "Vincent, what'd you say?" I did that another time. I'm in second grade, and me and my friend Scott and my sister Cindy, we go to the drive-in movie to see the Towering Inferno.
Okay.
And so me and Scott go to the concession stand and go to the bathroom. And we come back, we're sitting in the car. Mom says, "Could you show me where the bathroom is?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Come on, Scott." And Scott wasn't paying attention. She said, "What?" I said, "We're going to go show Mom where to take a piss." Now, I did not know that piss was a bad word in my mom's lexicon, but it was. I might as well have said, take a shit or something. She was, "Vincent, what'd you say?" I'm sorry. My mom, who could make a sailor blush, used to yell at me when I'd let a cuss word slip. So, anyway, that's a few of the stories of this. Um, so, would you give this a classic or a trash it?
I actually will give this a minor classic. It was funnier than I thought it would be. It actually got some laughs out of me, and I thought the subplot with Robin was actually kind of sweet, and I kind of got a crush on her too. So I liked it.
Yeah, I I loved this movie, and I loved it more now than I hadn't seen it since I watched it in 1977. So I I just imagined if I was tasked to write a screenplay about a coming of age, I would do something like this. I would make it goofy, corny, and everything else to make it a little more palatable for a 1977's crowd. So I give it
Yeah.
a very strong classic. You will be entertained watching this movie. Um, and you won't have to pay a dime for it because it's on Netflix. And
YouTube.
YouTube, yeah. So sorry. Um, they all bleed together.
You do have to pay several dimes to watch Netflix,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
you do. You do. I lost my train of thought. You shouldn't correct me. You should just let me screw up and let everybody else judge me out there in podcast land. Um, oh well. Um, what are we going to watch next week, Tabitha?
Well, since we can do pilot movies, we are gonna watch the pilot movie Starsky and Hutch.
I did not know there was a pilot movie, a 2 hour pilot movie.
It's
Really?
actually only like 80, no, like 75 minutes.
Okay.
So it's like a 90. With commercials, it would have been like 90.
Okay.
And
So,
as of right now, this series is streaming on Tubi. So you can
okay.
watch it with some decent quality.
Okay, well, very good. Oh, and by the way, if you want to watch any of the episodes of James at 15 or 16, they are on YouTube also, so you can watch the whole season. So
Thank God.
I know you're going to do this. As soon as you get off here, I'm going to start binging this tonight. Not going to work tomorrow. I've got James at
That's
15 to watch.
sorry, I can't come in. I'm watching James at 15.
Yeah, I did think it was well acted. I thought Lance Kerwin, this is his best work. Um, Playing such an odd human being with these fantasies. I think he did a great job
I
kind of putting
agree.
that straight. And I really, looking back, this movie and the Midnight Offerings movie, Melissa Sue Anderson really wasn't a great actress, was she?
Wow.
uh,
Sorry, Melissa, he doesn't love you anymore.
well, But anyway, yeah, the rest of it was well acted. I really liked the Kate Jackson character. She brought grounding to the chaos. I mean, she's only in the last 20 minutes of the movie, but finally someone with the hippie is the one who grounds everything, kind of
Right, exactly.
effective. So really cool. All right, so next week we will watch Starsky and Hutch, the pilot, and that will be on Tubi. And Tabitha will be taking the lead in that because Starsky is her man.
That's right.
Yeah. Do you have your what was it, the Zebra 3? Do you have that? What was his car called?
Zebra 3.
Zebra 3. Do you have one?
I have many versions of it, yes.
Oh, you should show us tomorrow or next week. That'd be kind of cool. So.
Okay, I will.
All right, we'll see you all next week. Thank you.